Three, two, one. Welcome to Sydney Reflect, Abartan.
Thank you very much, Dai.
How are you today?
Well, Dai, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all good, man. All good, bro. Been in lockdown, enjoying the lockdown.
I've been loving it since last 1.5 years already.
Yeah, he said it must feel great to be like you can work from home now, and you actually don't have to go. Also, it is a good topic to talk about. Like, how does it affect in a good way, but also in a bad way? That you do you feel like lonely just sitting at home?
Yeah, my personal experience is I'm so much used to working alone. It's more
Mm-hmm.
easier and more productive when I do not get disturbed by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it does not affect me too much, but every once in a while it gets a bit lonely, and sometimes we just tend to lose the human touch and all. But
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, I've got my cousins and I've got my family here and my flatmates here with whom I can have dinner and lunch together, and that way
Mm-hmm.
I'm still sane. But yeah, there's a crazier part that most people might lose their balance in the mental health state and all.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, it has been a really good because I become more productive. I don't need to wake up really early to commute for 1 hour and then go to city for work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, apart from that, yeah, I feel like for me it's a good thing. I can so that I could work from home. I can work from anywhere, so that's a good thing for me.
That's good for you, bro. Because I would love to work from home, but there's also that part, as you said, like it start messing with your head. Like when you don't meet people and when you don't talk about whatever has happened. Like you have your family, you have your friends. That's the best thing, to have someone to talk to about whatever has happened throughout the day, or like whatever you're feeling. Because if you don't have someone like that, I think that's when you start getting crazy and you start just talking to yourself. you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, talking to yourself has not been something I would say bad as well because
Mm,
I myself I tend to talk with myself a lot and curse
me
a
too,
lot.
man. Me too.
Whenever something does not work when I'm working, I tend to talk with myself, try to find the solution with myself. So that kind of helped me keep that communication going on and help me keep on thinking from various perspectives. But yeah, as you said, with time, if there's literally nobody to talk to, or if you are
Mm.
not able to be another human being for a long time, it's just going to be really messed up and just becomes really difficult for anyone.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, you are a penetration tester, which is a very sexy name actually. Penetration tester. Plus, I can see you like on being an ambassador at Bugcrowd, Bug Bounty Hunter, and everything. Maybe before we go to your profession, let's start with your study, because I always love to hear stories of like international students who are here. How have they been through, like throughout the years or throughout the time they were here? How has it changed for them? What are the things you have learned? I always like to hear that. So let's hear your international student story.
So yeah, I came to Australia like 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
back in May, and I came down to study my bachelor's in IT. Yeah, so while I was coming up, it's like everybody else, it's a big city, right? Like when
Mm-hmm.
you see those rivers, big parks, and everything, it becomes really overwhelming, and it looks so fun at first, but then with time, then you need to start looking for your life. You need to start looking for the job. You need to start looking for how you exactly you're gonna cope with the study background and everything around here. So yeah, it was quite fun at first, and then slowly it started to become really hard because it was really difficult
Mm-hmm.
to find a job as well. And yeah, so basically it was like that. And plus, most of the people around, whenever I told them like still gonna try to find a job in my field of IT, even though I'm still studying, because I already had enough skill set that is needed for me to be able to sold in the Australian market.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had that ambition, like, yeah, if I'm gonna work, that's gonna be my first job. I'm not gonna start working in any other industry or anywhere else. I was kind of an egoistic in that sense, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most people would just be like, nah, it's not possible for you. We don't get it.
It's being confident, bro.
Yeah, I would still call it an ego, and that ego actually helped me find my first job
Mm-hmm.
in the. It's not like I didn't work in kitchens or I didn't work in cafes. I did work. I did work. I did kind of a part-time job on the weekends at the
Mm-hmm.
cafe. I was still working in it because I felt like despite of working in the industry, what I was doing. So yeah, before I jump into that, so yeah, it
Mm.
was really difficult. But after a couple of months of trying, calling every individual IT companies around, asking for help with the friends to review my resume, and then I did the same thing, like what other people
Mm.
would do. So most people would be here. They were suggesting me to print out your resume, go to every cafes and restaurants, and just hand it down to the manager,
Mm.
so that that's one of the easiest way to find a job. Yeah. So I was doing that, but at the same time, I also did the same thing in IT industry, in my
Mm.
cybersecurity. I made a list of all the companies, called every single individual companies, emailed them,
Mm.
followed up with them, and finally landed my first job in it. So yeah, with that, I managed to prove wrong to many people who were like, "Nah, you can't get the job in the industry because it's not made for us. It's gonna take a long time. You need to be PR and all this kind of thing." So yeah, that was a good time. After like really hectic time, after a really hard time, when I landed
Mm.
my first, it was really amazing. And with just time, I just felt like maybe I still am not confident enough to communicate with the people yet.
Mm.
Even though I was comparatively good at English or communication, but I later understood that I was good communicator in text. I was good communicator in emails. I was good communicator with
Mm.
my friend circle, but outside of it, it would be really difficult for me to communicate. Like there was one time when I was not even able to, go and
Mm.
ask for McDonald's burger because I was that inconfident. So I thought like I would not be able to ask for it. So that scared. That
I
was
have an
scared.
experience like that too, man.
Like it was such an embarrassing moment, and then I just felt like that, and then I just thought maybe I'll just look for some other jobs as well, and then
Mm-hmm.
I found a job in one of the amazing cafes, and out there I was able to serve to the people as well. The people there, they gave me a chance to talk to the customers, and from there I started building my communication skill.
Mm-hmm.
I worked there for like 2 months, and then I left because it was getting really hectic for me. Like I was working full time during, because it was my summer break as well. I was
Mm-hmm.
working full time and then part time in the cafe, and it became really difficult for me to manage the whole 7 days workload. So I just left cafe after 2 months, but it helped me learn so much about life, so much about
Mm-hmm.
education and all
you
these kind of
you
stuff.
you learn how to communicate, you learn how to talk, man. Like doing any front of house job out there, it is like a very good way to improve your English, to improve your communication skills.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as I was saying, like I remember the time when I was here first, and I actually used to work as a kitchen hand, and I somehow managed to ask the owners there to let me work like in the front of house just for free. And I remember working out there, checking things out, and whoever was working there, she told me that just go and take the order from the customer, and I wasn't even confident enough to like just write down whatever they're saying. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
think
a difficult
yeah,
time. Yeah, it's a really difficult time because of the accent, which is
yeah.
completely what we are used to, right?
Mm.
And it was such a difficult time initially to get started, but I think once you start doing it for a couple of times,
Mm.
you get past barriers, and you would be able to do really fine.
It's pretty much fun, man. It's kind of difficult when you come here at the first. Like I think most of us have that thing in common where it's too hectic, it's too stressful for us to work and study at the same time because we have never done that before. So I hear that from every student. So what would be some things that you have actually learned or changed in you in this time? What would be a great lesson that you have had or you would like to share with anyone who's about to come here?
Well, I would say be egoistic person. Build some skill before you come to Australia. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say skill, I'm not talking just about barista training or whatever. I did barista training, but I even till this day, the only coffee I made was in my own home, in the own
Uh-huh.
our scene. That's it. I never got a chance to be a barista elsewhere, right? So
Mm.
just don't just practice that. Probably like when you are in your high school, try to find what exactly is your ambition, what you want in Korea,
Mm.
and start building the skills before you come to Australia. And this place has so much of opportunity for every single industry and every skill set. And then when you come here, just be egoistic, start hunting for the
Mm.
job for your industry, for your skill set, and you will definitely find something.
That's a good way to take it, man. That's the thing with most of us. Even with me, when I came here, I don't think I had a degree. I had a work experience for 1.5 years, but somehow I wasn't maybe passionate enough about it, and I was like most of the students out there. We apply for a few jobs, then we get frustrated and we stop applying. I've done that, like even
Yeah,
to.
like,
Hmm.
it was at one point, even myself, I thought like, why am I doing this? Like everybody around me is saying you can't get job in the industry. At the same time, it was true as well because I haven't seen anybody around me who had been working in the industry either. And when you are applying every single day and you don't hear back from them or anything, and then at that point in time, you start questioning your
Yeah.
own judgment. It's not made for you. Probably after getting PR only, it's going to be possible. So you just go with the flow. Now that's where the difference comes into. If you are passionate enough, if you are confident enough in what you can do, now that becomes the main motivation. Either you stop there and leave it forever, or you still search for the jobs in your industry while you are still working for whatever job you've got at that point of time. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Most of the barrier for most of us is, as an international student, is when we find a job that is at least helping us pay our daily stuff, like rent and our daily bills. When we start finding job like that, we stop finding jobs, or we stop hunting for the jobs, or trying to make a career in our own field or whatever industry we wanted to work into, right? So I feel like that's the main thing. If we do not stop despite of finding a job already that's paying the bill, that's a good thing. It's going to make you stable enough. But still, if we try enough, like even if you're applying at least an hour a day, it's going to help you out. At least some point of time, you would find a job in the industry itself, and you can leave everything else and start building your career. And that's going to be as well at the end of the day. But I think that's the main barrier and main area where most of the people lack here.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those things that is kind of a barrier or whatever. But I think people aren't passionate enough about it. Like you were passionate about IT, so that you kept on hunting, you kept on doing. I think for most of us, it's just like we want a good kind of a job. We want a high level, good kind of a job. But we aren't passionate enough to keep on applying, to keep on doing things that we need to do. I did a lot of things. I tried different ways and it didn't work out for me. But even with all of those, I think it always lacked passion, maybe. I don't know. Because I didn't find it. And right now I'm in the case like, yeah, maybe that's not for me at all. Or I have different passion. Somehow I figured out what's my passion. And it's more about like creating content. It's like photography, videography, even this podcast, like putting out content. That makes me happy, like instead of working 9 to 5 in an office. I did that. I somehow enjoyed that. But comparatively, like when it comes to passion and those kind of things,
yeah, I mean, like if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not gonna enjoy the industry.
Exactly.
That would have been same for me, but because whatever industry I'm working in, it has been my passion for a long time, and I've been learning, and it's always interesting for me to find something new, and I always get to learn something new every individual day. So I think because of the same thing, I don't really mind working 9 to 5, but again, my job gives me enough flexibility that if I at some point I'll be like, I don't want to work between 1 and 4 p.m. I want to take a break, and then I'll work in the evening. They would just let me do it.
You have been able to manage that, bro. That's the thing. If you're passionate about something, you somehow manage all those kind of things, I guess. That's what I think. With me, the problem till date has been like I had a lot of interest, I had passion, but somehow I was limited by societal pressures, because of my family pressures, because of what I've done throughout till now. It's hard to actually change the field, change the course. Especially you studied the same thing, you were passionate, you did everything from the start. For someone like me, I'm trying to change everything right now at this point of a career of time. It could go really good or it could go really bad, but something that I know is that doing something you're passionate about, it doesn't matter you're successful or not, you will have that happiness, or you will be satisfied that you at least tried, you did it. And I think that's what's driving me right now.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's better to be satisfied and fail than have regrets in life.
Yeah, true that, bro. I always say that it's better to try and fail than not to try and regret it and just think that if only I could have done that. Don't have that feeling, man. Just do it,
Yeah,
and you will know.
as well. I always tell whenever people ask me how do I find the job, or how I don't know what should I do. Should I really apply? Would they even consider me? I come from this
Mm-hmm.
background. Would they consider me? And I always tell them, like, I think I heard somewhere about this in some movie or somewhere, a quote, I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
it had been in my mind for so long. And this is something I always tell to everyone. If you
Mm-hmm.
do not try, it's the probability of not getting is 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you at least try, that probability goes down to 50%. And in mathematics, even 0.1% makes
Mm-hmm.
a huge, but you are making the difference of 50%. That's more huge than you can think of.
Yeah. When it comes to opportunities, I have like my own saying. I actually took it from someone else, but I also use that in my TEDx talk. It's like you miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take.
Yep.
So
That's it.
take it. You'll at least gain some percentage out of it, if not for 100%.
Yeah, exactly. You'll learn something out of it. You'll gain some experience. You'll be a better person from,
Exactly.
and something more than you would have not than you would have if you hadn't tried for it.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Those kind of things. And let's get into your work and stuff. So you work as a penetration tester. You work as a bug bounty hunter. You have Hall of Fames at Google. Let's talk about that. So what do you actually do being a penetration tester? Who is a penetration tester actually?
Okay, so a small joke before I start. I'm a pen
Uh-huh.
tester. Not mean I test the pen. I do not grab that pen, check if it works or not. That's not the pen tester I am. So
Uh,
basically, what it's like I get paid to hack my customers, and my customer
mhm,
themselves, they would be building applications. They would be building, for example, the Moodle that we had been using, right? That's
mhm,
also an application. And then there would be something like an office network as well, right? Like if you get connected to your Wi-Fi as well, inside your Wi-Fi there would be a lot of different devices.
mhm,
That's a net. Now it can be small, up to like just a few devices, or it can be a really huge network that belongs to a big corporates as well. And there would be mobile application that you use daily, and all this
mhm,
kind of stuff. So is our customer who owns those systems comes to us asking for, like, hey, we want to test the security of it so that we can fix any security loopholes before the bad hackers come and
mhm,
hack us. And then once they give us the project, I start testing out for every individual security loopholes that I can find, try to
mhm,
think how an attacker would hack them and disrupt their business and processes. And I would try to find all those security gaps, all those loopholes, test out from the experience and all, and then prepare a report and then give them a
mhm,
proper, teaching them what exactly the issue is, how exactly they can fix those kind of issues, so that
mhm,
they become somewhat relatively secure. And it's
mhm,
gonna be, yeah, basically it's like I'm trying to hack my customer before bad hackers hack them,
mhm,
so
mhm.
them from the bad hackers. So it's just that's how my day-to-day job looks like.
Okay. So what kind of customers do you have, like generally on an average, let's say?
You mean like what sort of applications they have?
Yeah, or what kind of penetrations do you do, or what kind of hackings do you do? What kind of customers do you have?
It is I've got like a really broad range of customers. So basically, we've got
Mhm,
startups who owns just a small web application with like a website that has like thousands of users or whatever,
mhm,
and I basically like try and hack into those applications. I try and hack into mobile applications, networks, and
mhm,
even we also perform something like I think we're going to talk about it, to the scam things.
mhm.
So
Okay.
in terms of scam, it's not a scam, it's called phishing or social engineering. So we even simulate social engineering attacks to see if the human beings or if the staff are safe enough, because human link is the weakest link in the security industry. So we
Mhm.
try to hack humans as well, and then we try to hack into buildings, hack into like everything there is
Okay.
that used by an attacker to compromise their business.
What? So you just correct me if I'm wrong. Do you just say that you even hack humans?
Yes, so to some extent, it would be hacking humans as well. Yes.
Okay. What do you do actually in that case scenario?
It depends, right? Like at some scenario, it would be just sending out fake emails that would look almost like legitimate to what their businesses would be sending to their staff.
Mhm.
Let's say, for example, let's say I would pose as I am from their HR, and I
Mhm.
would say, hey, you get a salary increase to review that. go click on this, and then you'll be redirected to blah blah blah. Put on your password for your corporate, and then from there you would be able to access your report, and you can accept or reject it, or if you have any other details, please reach out to our HR via this email or something like that, right? And that's one way of doing things. Second way of doing things, like if, for example, if we are hacking into building, if we are trying to infiltrate or businesses office branch physical space, at that point of time we'd pose like, hey, I come from your IT department, this is my fake ID card. And I'll try to create that relationship with them.
So you actually go out and talk to them and do that?
Yeah, we do that as well. So
have you done that?
Yeah, I've done that, and I still have one of the engagement left. Because of the lockdown, I could not do this the recent one, but after the lockdown, I'm gonna go and do it. I already have everything set up. I've got my fake ID card. I've got my fake letter of letter that says I am from the IT department.
You sound like a spy right now, bro.
Well, it's actually to prevent them hacked by someone who does it for bad intention, right? Like, for example, if I manage to fool them, if I manage to gain that trust and infiltrate their building, then from there I can start compromising their whole business, right? And if they have some checking, like, hey, even though I show them my fake ID badge, if I show them my fake letters or whatever, everything else, they still would need to verify with their specific managers or department, and there needs to be known that someone from this specific place is coming. If they don't know, they should not let me in. But if I can fool them, if I can gain that trust initially by conversation and be able to infiltrate, now that's an issue, that's a security gap. And a hacker can use the same method to get access to their building, and then from there, you never know, they can plant a bomb, they can plant like some malware or viruses, or even they might be able to get a backdoor inside so that they can hack remotely the business, right? So those kind of things always happen. So we try to do those kind of things as well too. We try to simulate those kind of things so that we can save our customer from such attacks.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool to know, man, being able to go out and actually do that. Man.
Yeah, it's not that often actually in Australia. In case of Australia, it's not too often when we actually go out in the physical side. It becomes like there would only be a few engagements a year, but yeah, other kind of social engineering, like sending out emails or giving them a phone call to get access to certain data and those kind of things. Those are the kind of comparatively normal kind of social engineering that happens here.
Okay, so you basically do all of that. You actually go and hack them so that you know how can others could hack it, so you could prevent that. That's basically a penetration tester. That's what you do. Yeah,
so basically that's the job of the pen tester. I try to hack whatever they have so that we can learn how to secure those perimeters. And if an actual attacker comes and tries to attack them, they would be safe from those attacks.
But do you already know all sorts of hacking that could happen and you try that? Or is it like for specific businesses you have like specific kind of hacking only? Is there anything like that? Plus the hackers are growing as you are growing. You know, they should be coming up with new tricks and new techniques. How do you know that? How do you deal with that?
So yeah, that's the reason I told you, like, I don't really mind working 9 to 5, and there's always something new to learn every single day. It's the reason is like, so basically I don't know everything. I don't know every single way of hacking or every single that other could use to hack, but whatever I know that can keep them relatively secure state, so that it's like if nobody just comes up with some basic skill levels, they won't be able to hack them. I'm trying to protect up to the maximum level. I'm trying to give them maximum security level. It does not mean I'm going to help them prevent 100% of the time that they won't be hacked, but it's going to make the life of bad hackers really hard. They won't be able to easily hack into their applications or business or anything. And in terms of learning, in terms of actually learning if I can or not, if I cannot learn about, or if how would I know new type of attacks, how exactly things are happening, you know? It's pretty, so how would I know is I would always, so I've got a daily habit of reading at least single blog post about something, whatever it comes in the infosec industry. I'm always subscribed to different different magazines out. If there are like any threats had happened, let's say most of the customers use Microsoft's business suite, and a lot of customer uses Amazon's cloud services, Google's cloud services as well, and all this kind of things. So if any compromise happens in their core services, they release statement saying, hey, this is the kind of things have been happening. Please upgrade your systems to prevent such kind of attacks. We have patched it and we have sent an update. So I would be subscribed to those kind of magazines and those kind of newsletters as well. So that from there I would read. I would like I daily in a daily basis I have conversation with my friends all over the world who is also working in the industry. We have different kind of skill level. We work in different of hacking, so I learn from them, and there's a really good source out there in Twitter as well, so I can follow a lot of hackers and learn from their blog posts and their methodology that they are sharing. So yeah, that's how I do. So whatever happens in the world, if it is publicly shared, I would read about it every day and then try to understand what exactly happened, how I can actually use it in my methodology so that I could secure my customers.
It's more than just 9 to 5 job. You have to stay alert all the time. You have to check everything. Keep updated. But that's the thing about tech. I think anything related to technology, it's changing so fast, so rapidly that if you want to be in the industry, you need to constantly keep on updating like a software,
It's a really fast-paced industry. Like every day there would be new technology coming, there would be old technology going off. There would be a lot of that's been updated to a complete new system as well, and it's us who need to start learning about them as fast as possible so that we can secure the customers. And also it's a really fast-paced industry, and I think because of that as well it becomes really fun because it's like a challenge whether technology gonna win over you or by not.
Okay, since you're there, let me ask you, since you're into tech and everything, do you think there would be a time in future when AI would take over human beings?
Okay, that would, if we have to think, we need to think from various perspectives, right? Like even if you look now, there had been a lot of systems that has been used like machine level languages or machine level. They had been trained by the AI for the AI algorithms as well and all. But the main question is who made that initially? It's the human being, right? And at some point of time, still human beings gonna need to help it to grow it itself, or human beings still needs to help them to at least get started. So I don't think at any point of time it's gonna completely take over human beings or the job of human beings, but provided that it can take over most of the basic jobs, like you can see like the packing jobs that you can see, they can be easily replaced by machines, right? And if the AI and machine learning algorithm is good enough, if it is trained enough, it can do it in more safer way. Diffusing the bomb, there won't be need of any bomb diffusers in terms of, because the machine would be able to do it as well by looking at it, and they would be able to process even faster, understand what exactly to be done in order to diffuse it with less error. Same goes out to like a lot of different businesses, even in the customer service market, even in the local grocery market, retail shops, and all. A lot of these things can be replaced, but every human being, I really don't think.
I don't know, man. The way things have been going on right now and the way everything has been developing, it's again, I think it's only coming from movies more than what I know personally or my research. I'm ignorant about that. It's just coming from the movies, but it seems like, like, what if machines reach to a level so that they could start themselves,
I mean, it's a possibility. Like it's a complete possibility that could happen. But again, I really don't think it's really something like we really need to worry about that, at least in our lifetime.
Not in our life. That's not happening in our life. Just something.
It won't even happen for like next few decades, I guess. It's just gonna even longer time. Like not just decades. I mean, it's not gonna be few centuries. Like it cannot take over completely. It's still like, I mean, like it might take over like, let's say 60% of jobs or 60 to 70% of what people are doing. But and I still don't think machines would have errors.
Well, when it comes to jobs and automation, machinery, I think like since the beginning, I think since the Industrial Revolution or whatever, since the machines started coming in, they of course took some jobs that human beings were doing and they do it more effectively. But somehow or somewhat, you would always need human beings. If they might have taken one job, it might start another job that never existed. So I don't think automation would take out job at least completely.
Yeah,
But
it won't.
again, if I think like they could take over human beings, of course there might be a time when that might happen and no jobs. But for now, as much as I can see, although people are losing few jobs because of this automation thing and everything, I think it's also generating another new jobs, which never existed. So I think somehow they will balance themselves.
Yep, exactly. Like it might take on like your normal day job of, let's say you need to fill a shelf in grocery store, right? It
Mm.
might take over that job, but maintaining that machine, that
There's
job
another
never
job.
exists, right? Even now, that job does not exist for the grocery store. You never
Mm.
know if every grocery store would start using machines. Now they would need people who would maintain that machine,
Hmm.
right? Now
Exactly.
it's gonna some job that does not exist in that industry as well. So yeah, that's a huge possibility out there.
Yeah, I think we'll balance out that.
Yeah, human beings are
Yeah,
really amazing, creative beast. We would
we
find
can.
something
We'll find
greater.
something. We'll do. Now let's talk about the bug bounty. I have heard about this thing like a lot from my IT friends, and I used to love this thing, to not in the sense of a bug bounty, but somehow like being able to hack passwords and everything. I've always loved those kind of things, but never been passionate about it. It's just like something interesting to me. So
It's
what
cool.
is it like bug bounty? So do you basically go to different websites and try to find errors? That's basically a bug, right? Some kind of error.
Basically, when we say bug, normally bug would, from the development perspective, it would be
Mm.
an error. But from the security perspective, when we say bug, it means security loopholes, or we call it
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable. So those vulnerable places from where an attack can happen or an attacker can compromise the users or customers. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what bug is in security. And what bug bounty is, I'm sure you must have heard like from people as well. They would say, if you ask some people, they might have said to you like, I cannot hack someone's Facebook, but if you find a way to hack and tell
Mm-hmm.
it to Facebook, it's gonna reward you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what bug bounty actually is. So basically, you find different ways to hack into their systems or application, whatever they have that is
Mm-hmm.
in something called scope, meaning like it's the fixed boundary. That's where you can move around and do whatever you want. Outside that boundary is not something we control, and we're not going to give you reward for. But if you are inside the boundary, we are not going to file a case against you, but we
Mm-hmm.
would reward if you help us out to be secure in that boundary. So yeah, bug bounty is like basically you finding those kind of vulnerabilities, those security loopholes, and
Mm-hmm.
you respond, disclose it to those vendors, to those companies, whoever has bug bounties policies in place, and
Mm-hmm.
in return, based on how severe the security loophole is, they reward
Mm-hmm.
you set amount of money. They reward you something like this T-shirt,
Uh-huh.
and that's the kind of things. And I always say I would hack for T-shirts, because there was a time when I had my whole wardrobe in for the summer were only these kind of T-shirts, which I earned either from bug bounties, either as a gift reward, or either as a giveaway reward. I don't know, but I just got it. So that's what I used to have, and it's cool too. It's not like a normal T-shirt. You don't need to buy, and you
Yeah.
cannot buy it. But it's like a cool, unique kind of piece that only few people in the world would have. So that's a good.
That feeling is what matters in the having that feeling. Yeah.
So basically, even if you wear it in trains or go to beach,
Mm.
90% people might not know it, but you are
Exactly.
always thinking there would be at least one person who would know what that T-shirt is and come to, hey, do you do this? And that's what we live for. That's the amazing feeling, right?
Yeah, man, that should be amazing when someone actually recognizes that this is what it is, especially when it's like a prize or something. Yeah, you feel
It's
famous for for a moment. You feel like famous.
yep, exactly. You could be like, oh, people know me. People know this.
So
Yeah,
what is it with like bug bounty culture? I think there is kind of a culture out there, you know.
yeah, it has been kind of a culture now that, and it's because like Google, Facebook,
Mm.
even corporations to smaller corporations like Airbnbs as well, and all these companies, right? They have their own in-house hackers. They go through security testing every year,
Mm.
multiple the external companies like ours as well, right? But still, they would still. That's why I say like I would be able to help my customer to be relatively secure, better secure than previously than
Mm-hmm.
before I tried to hack into them, right? that does not mean I'm going to make them 100% secure. I'm going to be able to find every individual kind of attacks, right? Now, the bug bounty culture, the bug bounty concept comes into that. Now, it means you leave it to the whole crowd, the whole community professionals in the world. You invite them telling, hey, find something, tell us if it is valid, and you are the first person to report that, I'm going to give you a report. So that's what bug bounty about bug bounty culture is. So some people take it as a full-time job, and
some people have it as a full-time job.
So basically, it's not a job. It's like it's not something that's 100% paid thing. So it's not something that you would get 100% of the time for your effort or anything. You get paid only if you find that security loophole. If you are the first person to find that security loophole, and you would get based on what the severity of it is. So if the severity is too low, you're going to get paid really less amount. If it's really high, you're going to get really high amount. So some people do it as a full-time thing. Like they don't do any other jobs. They just open their laptop whenever they want. They travel around whenever they wanna do it, and they're just gonna hack into it, find some security loopholes, report it, get rewarded, enjoy a few days off, and then again. Some people do it like some people do it as a part-time thing. Some people, and I do it as a seasonal thing. It's a seasonal. Basically, it's like whenever I feel like, okay, if I'm too bored right now, I want cash as well. Maybe let's try it out. It seems interesting. Let's just do it. And then I might do it. That's seasonal hunters. And there would be some doing as a part-time, some doing as a full-time.
It sounds exciting, man. Like hacking, like as I said, I don't have it now, but there was a time where I was somehow into it because of the friends' influence and everything, I guess. Not because I was really passionate about it, but even till this, I love the fact that people will actually hack into stuff, like people like you. I find you guys so interesting. It should be so exciting to hack and those kind of stuff,
I really love it. Some people will be like so arrogant, like, yeah, we got really secure stuff. We don't really need this. Some policies say, some organizations say, we need to do this as a mandatory thing so that we can check a box. And it becomes more fun to prove them wrong, find those security loopholes, be like, yeah, you told us that there isn't anything, it's really secure, but these are some critical stuff we found. You sure about that? Maybe you need to rethink about it. And then it's always fun, yeah.
Yeah, it should be exciting, man, finding bug bounty. So this thing again, bug bounty, your penetration tester, it brings us to all the kinds of things that are happening regarding cybersecurity in our today's world where everything is going online, and cybersecurity should be a priority. We don't have it. Even with me, I don't think I have a much of a priority than having a password for everything. I don't think I think of any other security than that. But it could be hacked pretty easily, right? Passwords?
I mean, like, it depends. It really depends on what exactly you're using. But at the end of the day, if you are reusing your password and not using like really complex passwords, but you're using like a normal words, because I've seen a lot of people have like Nepal12 as a password, or their girlfriend name as 12, or their home place name, or their phone numbers from or their Nepalese phone numbers. And a lot of people put such a simple password. The reason is that they want to remember it so that they won't forget, and they use almost everything they find online. And it's a really bad habit. It's a really bad habit.
I have that in some of them, yes.
Yeah, if one of the account get compromised, if you are reusing same password, that just means everything you own is compromised.
How do you remember all those passwords then? There are so many things you need password for, man.
Well, that's a really good question. I think this is going to be an educating moment for all the listeners as well. I'm really weak at remembering things. There was cases where I created over 10 Facebooks because I forgot password of each individual after creating it, right, in the past. Bad I have in terms of memory. So what I do is I use something called password managers. So there are a few examples like KeePass, LastPass is something I use. So Bitwarden, there are a few brands that lets you have it for free. You don't need to pay for it, and it works across your mobile phone, iOS, tablets, iPad.
So is it like an app or something?
Yep, it's an app. So for the mobiles, it's the app. For the browser, it has their add-ons as well. So you can just create an account in those password managers, then use it to generate secure passwords. So it can generate you really password, and it's going to save all passwords in its account. So That way, you only need to remember the password for your password manager. That's it. And don't use that password manager's password anywhere else in the world, and does not matter. And then what happens is every time you need to log into any of your account, if you have saved that password manager, you can just open password manager. And in terms of like something like LastPass that I use in my phone when I'm using it, it always gives me a pop-up like saying, hey, do you want to fill this form from LastPass? And I will just click on it, verify my identity, and it's just going to give me the list of the username and password I have for that specific website or for that form. And then I can type on it and it's going to autofill. I don't even need to type it. Right now, it becomes so you definitely should start using password managers and let them control what password to generate, so that you have really secure passwords and it's already password manager, and it's really secure and safe over there.
How good are the Google password, whatever it is? Like Google has a list of password, right? You can save it in Google Chrome, right?
Oh yeah, you can. So the thing that you get in Google Chrome is also a random password that they generate. It's a good one. It depends how you use it. So it's the same that the password managers do too. So password manager is also going to give you the same pop-up asking, do you want to generate a password? Or you can just password directly from their application or add-ons, and then put them as a password and save it in the password manager. So in terms of Google Chrome that you have been using, so when you click on that random password, it automatically fills your password and saves it in your browser as well as your Google account. It's the same exact thing, but the only thing is like with Google Chrome, with the Google's passwords, whatever you use, it's only valid for Google Chrome. It won't fill you for any other browser if you're using. For example, I heavily use Firefox. It's not going to work for me in Firefox. I need to every time go to Google's password.google.com, and then get all the from there, search for that password for the user for the website I want, and it's way too much of a hassle. But with the password managers like LastPass, I don't need to do that hassle. I can just save it, done, and it's going to be in the add-on. Every time I visit a website, it's automatically going to show I have a password saved for that specific account, and with just one click, autofill it, and it just makes it easier.
That's good to know, man. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
That would be very helpful, because as you said, I have a lot of my passwords where like everything is same. At the end, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 something else. That's different.
Really insecure, because how much numbers do you have? If you look from the mathematics perspective, combination rules that we have been taught in mathematics, it's the same. It's based on combination. How much combination do you have? Not much, right? It's 1 times just 10. The permutation and the combination out of it, it's not too huge. And you're only changing one letter or one single alpha, one single symbol, whatever you're using. You're only changing one single element, not every. Now just do the math, just do the permutation and combination. You will see how insecure it would be, how many tries it's going to take for an attacker to find that. So that's the thing.
Maybe like right now I'm not very successful. I'm not very rich. I don't have anything I have to lose right now. Maybe that's why I don't care or whatever.
No, it's a wrong thought actually. A lot of people, I used to like, nobody knows me. I'm a complete nobody. Why would an attacker would hack me? I have nothing, right? But that's wrong. You have identity, right? You've got your identity. You've got your password. You've got your details in there. You've got your addresses there. It's really easier for a hacker to impersonate you now. So, for example, when we hack into buildings or places or the branch offices physically, I make fake badges. I try to build a relationship. Tell them I am this person from this individual. And then, what if I go to one of your workplace or somewhere you work remotely? They haven't seen you, how you look like. What if I go there? I say, hey, I'm Vikesh. You remember I work for you guys. I'm from this place specifically. Now that because I've hacked you, I know your address. I know who you are, what you do, and all. Now I can easily impersonate you, and I'm like, hey, can I get my salary a bit early this time because I really need it, or can I get some extra money as a loan because I'm really in need at this point of time? And since I have already built that trust, since I've already shown them I am you, there is a that they might give me because you work for them for some time, right? And when I take that on, I'll be gone, and everything comes back to you. Now you gotta pay the loan that I took.
Right? It's already a possibility.
So that's the possibility. Those are the things. And in terms of Nepal as well, in terms of Australia as well, I can pretty much open up a bank account from your.
You just paused, bro.
Okay, yeah. So basically, I was saying, so
Uh,
with just that, I as well, I can actually open up a bank account on your name and do the scam work in there.
mm,
Right? I can buy a new phone in loan using your password, your
yeah.
visas. Now it's you who's going to pay for that, not me. If I don't pay for it,
Mm,
how would they? What would they do? They're gonna start looking into their details and see it's
mm,
your details. They're gonna give you a call saying, "Hey, you have not paid for this services you bought from us.
mm.
When are you gonna pay? Are you gonna pay, or we should send a police, or do you want to go in court or whatever?" Now it's you become the victim, right? So you have to think from that perspective. It does not matter if you are rich, if you are down or not, as
Mm.
long as your identity, that's more than enough for a hacker to have reasons to hack you.
Yeah, man. I've never thought about it like that, man.
Yeah, it's always a possibility. A lot of people become victim of their identity theft as well because of the same reason.
Yeah, that's something else that we have to talk about here since we're talking about all of this, like scams in Australia, especially. I know there are plenty of them, but let's maybe look into especially something that is targeted to someone like us, like mostly international student. Like few of the scams that you could hear about is investment scams. There are like romance and dating scams. Also the payment redirection that you also talked about like few time ago. It's like how do these things work? Or let's go like specific. Like there was a scam that I remember, the gift card scam, where they basically would call you. Either they would say they are from ATO or some tax or some police or something, and somehow they are very good to play with your psychology. Like somehow they utilize the scare, that fear, the feeling of fear. They are somehow very good in utilizing that and making people. They don't give a chance. Like even people that think twice. They just go out there and buy a gift card and just give them. How much do you know about that? And what is it actually? How do they work? And how can we actually prevent scams like that?
So basically, yes, it's really funny thing. Do you know one of the main reason why I always tell human is the weakest link?
Uh-huh.
I said yeah, hack our customers, humans, and as well, and all these things. And when I said human are the weakest link, it's because we are. And I was actually watching a few of the talks and then reading a few of the books, blogs in biological, like how exactly our human behaviors are influenced, how
Mm-hmm.
exactly behavior work, and it's so easy to manipulate. It's like the thing is like if we are fearful of something,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes so easy for anyone to manipulate you and make you a puppet. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of ATO, in terms of coming out of police, when they give you a call mentioning, "Hey, I'm from police. You have this sort of cases in your name, and you gotta pay like 6,000 or 10,000." They're gonna give you a bulk number. Now
Mm-hmm.
that's where the thing starts. First thing they would say they are from police. Now you're gonna start like, "Holy shit, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I did. Maybe is it because we tend to break something or we tend to think way too much,
Mm-hmm.
and we must be something I've done. I don't know what I did. Now I'm gonna be in trouble. Now
Mm-hmm.
that's the fear that they initially started when they mentioned I'm from police or Australian tax office or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when it starts, then comes another part that's going to influence them even more. They're gonna say, "Hey, you've got a 15,000 fine or $10,000
Mm-hmm.
fine and jail." Now come for the international student, $10,000 is a
It's a
very
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 big amount, man.
not just big, it's very, very big amount, right?
Mm,
It takes months and months to save that much of money from a
exactly.
lot of students. And when they tell you they are from police, they've got fine of over $10,000 and you're gonna be
Mm,
also in jail. Now they would think, what if I go to jail? Whatever my mom and dad did, it's all went in vain. I'll be a really bad son or daughter.
one
It's
after
going to
another.
and I start thinking you start thinking like a lot of these kind of stuff, and they
Mm,
make use of it. They would be like, now you would try to say, what did I do? What should I do? How exactly can I do? And since you are not able to think what exactly to do, you will not be able to think rationally at that point of time. They're
mm,
gonna give you the option now. Okay, don't panic. We've got option for you.
mm,
Since I'm good enough, guy, buy me $2,000 gift card.
mm,
I'm going make sure that this does not happen so that you won't need to pay fine. I'm going to let it sleep around the stuff. I'm going to make the paperwork work in such a way that you won't need to worry about it. This is what it's going to take. This is not my charge, not for me. It's going to need for the department so that we can work in favor of you. We can work with lawyers or whatever in favor of you. Now you'll be like, okay, now you're going to start comparing 15,000 plus jail versus 2,000. I think 2,000 is something I can do. Even though it's going to take me 2 more months to save, still it's fine. I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to lose my 10 months of saving or 6 months of saving. I'm only going to lose a small amount. I think that's the rational behavior. And then they're just going to go and do it. Now that's how exactly, right? The fear they initially built, because we always feared of police, right? It just means whenever they give a call, we always feel like maybe we did something wrong. That fear they start to bulk it up with the huge fines and huge jail time that's going to affect you in your society. For you, it's going to affect your parents. Now that's all your relations that you have. You're going to see that it's all of them going to be affected. Now that's how they start building all these kind of things and then give you such an easier option that still is not easier, but still looks easier option at that point of time because you're not able to think rationally.
Exactly.
You fall for it. So these are the way they usually do it. And our human behavior, we always were built by this. The reason we live in a society, the reason we came down from Stone Age, from hominids to living in a society is because we always feared from the environment. We always feared of the predators. We always feared of different animals. We always feared of the weather that would kill us. And because of that, so that we could be safe, we formed a society, right? And even though we did that, our roots are always in the same thing, always in the fear. So that's why we never get to think rationally now, right? So yeah, that's how exactly most of the time it happens. So you should always know, to be safe from it, is know any government official gonna call you regarding like you got a fine or something. If they call you, even if they call you, don't do anything at that point of time. Leave it as is. They must send you some sort of letters if you have fine.
Exactly.
Right?
There should be an email.
Always get an official letter. The Australian government has every details on you, including where you live. So they would always send you letters or an email, whatever, not just phone call. And the second thing is nobody is going to ask you to pay in gift cards or transfer into the bank account they mention. Always, they would, if it is a legitimate party, they're always going to tell you, go to the government's website and pay the fine from there. You would get some reference numbers or whatever, and you pay the fine from there. You get those details. That is legitimate. You're not no any government, or not just government, any corporate, any business works in payments. It always should have a proper cash flow, because without that flow, they won't be able to show it in their accounts now, right? It's fraudulent if they don't show it in accounts. So because of that, you need to be really wary about it. And even if someone tells you they are from police department, never fear, because they might not be calling you because you did something wrong. They might just be, I don't know, they might be calling you to check on you if you are well enough. Maybe someone has said that you are the victim of some sort of violence or whatever. Maybe they are calling to check on you, or maybe they are calling you because someone put you as a reference for something, or maybe they are calling you for some other matter. It does not always mean they are calling you because you did something wrong. So we need to be always very, like, these people are not here to scam us, not to scare us. They are to help us, to protect us. So we need to be really wary about it. So don't be scared of those kind of calls. Don't be scared of police. Don't be scared of government or any calls that comes from government. Be scared of actually, if they are going to ask you for your personal details in the phone, if they're going to ask you for your bank card details on the phone, or if they're going to ask you, like, send them a picture or whatever of card and anything, be scared of that thing and don't ever do it. Because no government's going to ask you for that. I've even seen, like, a lot of time, I've even seen that some people had put on some sort of advertisement saying the mobile phone is this cheap and that, and then they're going to send you an email saying, hey, for the verification purpose, you need to send the cards front and back. Now you might seem like, oh yeah, the phone I'm getting is real cheap. It's almost like 70-80% off. That's a deal for me. Maybe I'll just use it for myself, or I'll send it back to my family. You're thinking that way, but that person is actually might be scamming you. Now, when you send your bank card's detail, he can literally use that details to buy something.
Is it similar to payment redirection?
Yep, that happens.
That's what you're talking about right now, right? Payment redirection.
Also like payment redirection, not all the time. So sometimes it can just be like what you're fined for. They would just give you a call and ask you like, hey, they've got to find something like this that you already know about. And they would ask you, instead of sending it to the DSP or accounts that they mentioned in the letter, that's the wrong address, can you send it to a different? That would be a full payment redirection. But what I'm talking about, using your debit cards when they ask you to send your debit card or credit cards front and back pictures and all the debit cards details over the emails or phone or messages. Now that's going to be more on the scam side as well. So they're going to use it to buy something on your behalf for themselves, and you're going to be ripped off. So those are the things, something that often happens, right?
How do you know that? Like, because whenever we are doing any sorts of online shopping or anything, we are always giving our card details, right? Our number and back number, front number, and everything. We are giving it. How to know if we are giving it to a valid website, valid form, or it's not valid? Is there any way to know that, differentiate that?
Well, I would say do not use any website you've never heard of or that sounds illegitimate. For example, if I go and shop in Iconic, I know the Iconic has its own brand, it's a legitimate business, right? And I'm trying to go and put my details. And I would also know Iconic has gone through multiple security testing and they are compliant to the bodies that processes our payment. So I know I'm safe enough to go and keep that. So you need to think, I think from that perspective, because I know this from the security side of it, like the compliance, it needs to make sure that everything is secure in place. But from a normal perspective, I would go and shop in the iconic.com.au and put my card details, because I know it's a legitimate business. I've heard of it and they have been in business for some time. And I would not just go into like randomshop.com.au and put my card details on. Randomshop.com.au, I only found it today, or I even only heard it now. I don't even know if that exists. So you can always check whether or not that business exists in Google. Search for the address, you would be able to find, look into their contact form, see their addresses, search for the address. Do you see that address is legitimate or not? So you always find those kind of details. So that's how you can pretty much differentiate. So, but the best possible tip I can ever give you to stay away from those scams is don't go into hallelujah.com.au and put on your credit card details. Just put it website that you've heard of that has been in business.
Make sure where you're putting your card details. Basically, do your research. If you're going into something new, do your research.
Always know that. You should always know any minute you would be hacked. Know that there still is a risk that you might be putting it into the fraud's website. You might be giving out a fraud. There is always that risk, but provided that to reduce that risk or to reduce that fraud can happen, you do not put your card details into any random website you see in ads or you see in Google ads or in whatever you're using. You might see in ads as well. Don't put it there. Just a website that you know of and that you have heard of.
Yeah. I think it comes down to like being street smart. That's what you call them, like the particular word, you know. Like I think for me personally, I'm not trying to brag myself out, but since the time I've been here, I've been very like careful regarding those kind of things. Like I always think twice, or I decide do my research and be street smart, you know. Like if I get a lot of texts. I try to not give my number whenever possible. I haven't given my number in Woolworth or like Coles or anywhere, you know, because once you start giving out there, you believe it or not, you start getting unwanted texts. The more you give your number out there, the more you start giving unwanted texts. So that's why I've always tried to avoid giving. I will give like fake number. Like I'll put all the numbers the same and the last number is different than mine, you know. Whenever I have to give my number somewhere, I always do that.
If it is something I don't really need, but I'm forced to use, I'm always gonna put 012345678. I'm gonna always work. If it does not work, use 02 and any number, because 02 is used.
You pause again.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, don't use any number. Or you can either use 012345789. It's gonna work, or you can use.
What was that number? 012?
01234567889, or you can use 0213456789. The reason 02 is because 02 is used in Australia. It's the So you can use that because most of the machines here, most of the phones gonna recognize it as a valid number.
Yeah.
Even
Okay.
on your
That's good to know. Because I know that if you give out number, you get. So I just try to avoid giving my number or detail or address. I worked in retail, where we used to actually collect the data of the people. Like we used to ask you were going to get some kind of promotion out there, but we are actually getting your data for our own beneficial uses. I think what they used to do was figure out what is the customer out there like, when are they coming, what are they buying, where do they live, and everything, So I try. No,
help them. That's gonna help them take business decisions at the end.
I think that's a good way to be secure, man. Don't give out your details until and unless it's really necessary, And the other trick I have learned, tell me if you know better about this, a way to be safe from, especially the investment hacking or payment redirection hacking, those kind of things, is use your credit card instead of using your debit card. Because credit card is bank's money.
Yeah, a lot of people tell the same thing, but why would you even use that without researching? What I would say, don't jump into something that you do not have idea about. It's not a win-win situation. Be it investments, be it buying something. If you don't feel like you know much about that, don't jump into it. It's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, even in investments, right? If you don't know how to do the research, if you don't know how to look into the stocks, how to look what sort of stock gonna work, which way, how exactly they have performed, if you cannot do that analysis, if you are not able to find the performance, if you're not able to read the performance, what's the point in spending $1,000? It's a blind gamble, right? You might get lucky sometime, but does not mean you get lucky all the time. Most of the time, you're gonna get unlucky from the gamble.
Yeah,
and it's in your favor. So that's what I would say. Don't just dump your credit card details if you feel like it's not.
But it could always be like a last line of safety,
Yeah,
instead of using a debit card, use a credit card.
That's fine, use it. But at the same time, what I would say is as soon as you use it, start researching. Or if you haven't researched initially, or let's say you've been a victim of the fraud, when you use a card, just use the credit card, right? But afterwards, if you are supposed to get the service soon enough, just follow up to get those details. If you do not get it, just leave a call to bank, explain them, get that money frozen to that account, and it should be good.
Yeah, that's something. Again, that's another one of the things, being street smart and kind of stuff. Use your credit card and debit card. Just for our listeners. There's another scam that I know of, especially in Facebook. I get a lot of requests from sexy girls with bikinis and everything all the time. It has reached to a situation right now where you don't get that kind of pictures. It's like they take pictures of a random Nepali girl from somewhere else, and if you open up, you would know that's fake because there are only 2 photos and they have been uploaded just yesterday or something like that. But when you just look at it, it's like they are from the same background, they are from the same country, they are beautiful, and you get into it, and then they start to scam it out of that. Some of the things that I know about is they get you into having a sexual chat or something like that, take your photos, sexual photos, and try to blackmail you that it will just give it to your parents or your friends and ask money from that. The other could be, there are a few idiots out there who would just give money, just with the hope that they might be able to get with that girl, get laid with that girl. So how much do you know about these kind of scams, and how do they work, and how can we prevent these kind of scams?
Actually, I've heard of these kind of scams happened quite often in the community as well. A lot of people became of it, and yeah, it's so funny, right? You should always know no woman is hungry enough to get laid with you on the conversation. Nobody's gonna do that, right? It's not something that's normal. It's not gonna happen normally. I'm not saying it might not happen at all. I'm not judging anybody or anything, but most of the time it does not happen. So you should be really skeptical what you're doing online. Never ever send nudes. Never ever interact with such accounts. Always see whom you are adding. Like the reason Facebook Facebook calls it friends instead of accounts you are connected with or your links or connections. It says friends. The reason Facebook calls it friends is because it thinks you know that person. That person is your That's why you're accepting them as your friend, right? So you need to be really wary about whom you accept in your Facebook, whom you give access to your Facebook. And at the same time, you should always be wary like whom you are interacting with. Sometimes people, some legitimate people might be hacked, and they might use it to blackmail them, or they might use it to go into sextortion kind of crimes, because it is one of the biggest thing happening in Australia as well. A lot of cases comes up every year by the police. I mean, I'm not too sure on the amount, but the amount Australian lose is in millions of dollars every year in sextortion, the similar scams. So you need to be
it is like second or third in like top things of scams. I read an article out there yesterday. So the 3 types are investment, romance, and the payment direction. They were like at the top.
So basically, it is a really big deal. It's a very big issue over here. So you need to be really wary about what you're doing, because nobody's going to get like video just in a single conversation, or they would want to have sexual chats or sexual videos or whatever you're doing. Don't ever do that. If you see something like that happening, take it as the biggest red flag and stop it immediately, because there's literally no other way to do it. What they would usually they are going to, as soon as you accept the request, they are going to make lists of the people you are connected with, get the name of the people, and then when they film you doing the stuff, or when they get your text or photos, use it against you for blackmailing, they're going to tell you like, I know every people, and blindly give you the name of the people that they copied, and they're just gonna scare you, and you're gonna end up paying them more and more money. So basically, like if that happens, immediately block the person, and immediately call the police, tell them about it, just in case, to be safe. And if they ask for ransom, don't do it. If you're paying them ransom, you need to know that you are provoking them. You're telling them, be more greedy, I can pay more if you keep on blackmailing me. Because never gonna end. Like you may give them the money right now, and they might say, okay, that's all right, I'm gonna be okay for now. And then what if they come back to you after 5 days again, asking for the money again?
Keep coming.
You don't have money. They would only say, last time you gave. So that just means you're not serious enough. Now I'm gonna leak your videos and all. And now it's gonna be more. You're losing more and more money. So simply, first thing, if you see such photos, if you see such friend requests coming up, simply block.
No, that's a scam.
You should simply know that's a red flag. Second thing, if somebody starts talking about those kind of stuff, talking about sexual stuff, if they start sexting with you and all, simply stop it. That's another big red flag. And the third red, and afterwards, if you don't stop there, then you're ruined. And that would be, they ask you to do a video call. Now that's the final red flag. That's the only level you can be safe from. If you are not stopping at that moment, you are not going to be safe.
Another thing I would like to add in the same context is that, as far as I've seen, if they are sending you a request in Facebook and they are asking you to do a video call somewhere else, that's a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, that's a red flag too, right? Like, Facebook has the feature to do video call.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you asking me to come somewhere else? So I think that's the thing what I've experienced. I don't know about others, but that's with everything, because sometimes what I do is I try to provoke them and see what they are going to do, what they are trying to say. They send recorded videos, which seems like they are doing it right now, right there. I've had that a lot of times, where they ask me to go to a different place and I wouldn't agree. So it just ends there. It never goes beyond that. So if they're asking you to go out, that's a red flag.
Yeah, they won't have time to spend on you to try and lure you to different websites or do it. If you are just gonna show no interest at all, so if you're just, even on the first red flag on the chat, if you're just gonna block them or ignore them, they are not gonna come back to you. They're gonna move to someone else. So we just need to know that. And that's the only way you can be safe. First thing, don't accept requests at all. From the first red flag. Second is when they start talking dirty on your messages, stop it. That's second biggest red flag. And third, if they ask you to do a video call, now that's the final red flag. Don't do it at all. Stop it, else you're gonna be facing whatever comes next. So yeah, you need to be really wary about those. It's just, I think at the end, it's just like something people need to know about it, but still fall for it, thinking maybe that's not true. Maybe
that's the thing about being a guy and having that thing dangling between our legs, I guess. It's easier to persuade us to do that.
That's why we need to be really, really wary.
Yeah, you need to be careful about those things, Again, it's again like playing with emotions, human psychology, another part of it. Do you know of any other scams that has been around here in Australia that we should know about, or we could let our listeners know about?
I wouldn't call scams specifically, but in the digital world, there's something called ransomware attacks. It means when you download pirated contents, or when you download or when you visit certain websites, it's just going to download some piece of software and it's going to lock your whole computer. And to get access to your files, you may have your personal files, you may have your business files, you may have your homeworks, whatever. But everything will be locked. You are not going to be able to access any of it. And at that point of time, it's going to show on the screen saying pay $200, $500, $1,000 in Bitcoins to this address, and we're going to send you the key only to then encrypt it, but they're never going to send you the key. So you need to be really wary about whatever you do online. So don't surf blindly into torrents. Don't click on ads that just pops up. Don't visit. I would say don't even visit porn sites or anything, because that's one of the biggest places where these kind of ransomware attacks can happen. So yeah, don't download anything that you feel like is not needed or that you feel like is not legitimate, and don't use pirated content. I understand that if we can get something pirated, if we can find the crack of something, it becomes more easier because you're not paying money for it. But you need to be really wary that you're risking yourself, that pirated content could, or that crack file could have a virus in it that can potentially block your computer, and whatever you have in your computer is going to be long gone. You can never recover it. So you need
that
to be
can
really
actually just happen by just clicking on a link. If I just click on a link, they can have everything.
Yeah, you don't even need to do a whole lot of things. It might just install it on the background for you. Or it might, for example, you might just download a crack file for some software that you have been using, and it asks for like $500 or $600 just to get the license of it. And let's say you are searching for the crack. Now in the crack README file says, or the text file instruction says, open this one, disable your antiviruses, disable your internet or whatever, and then double click on this file, then it is going to crack that software for you, or it's going to give you the access to the software fully, because that's how this crack is going to work. And as soon as you double click on it, that's it. It's just that double click away, and your computer is going to be locked. So you need to be really wary of what you exactly do. Instead of using pirated content, if you can get a license, if alone getting a license is really expensive for you, there is an easier option. I wouldn't call it a really legitimate option or whatever, but again, you can just have a couple of friends of yours who might use the same software, and then just buy it together as a single software and share the license amongst you, right? So you can do something like that as well. But yeah, that's one thing that we need to be really worried about is ransomware attacks from the pirated content.
What can we do in case, let's say, by mistake I click somewhere, do something, and I get that kind of a message? What is the next step I could do? Nothing?
Literally, you have three options actually. First option is try and Google search and then pray that there is a decryption key for that. Some good people in the world, some good hackers managed to reverse engineer the whole mechanism, how exactly that ransomware works, and they are sharing the key to decrypt it. Pray for that, cry for that, and hope for that. If you cannot find it, second, close your computer, break it, put it in a dustbin. Third option, completely format everything in your computer. So you've got three options only, nothing more than that.
Formatting everything. Yeah. Those are really not any options, man. The first one is an option. If you could find that and could solve it, that's a pretty good option. But the second and third, I don't think that's an option at all. You lost it. There's nothing else you can do.
That's a throwing away, is because when you format everything, you need to format literally clean.
Exactly.
Everything go, meaning you won't have any files you had, anything that is not needed.
That's what I mean. That's not an option.
That's going to be a useless anyway, initially.
Exactly. So, that's what I mean.
I said option 2 of dumping it. That's a possibility.
Yeah, man. It's pretty scary out there if you see what happens. There are plenty of people Australia loses like millions and billions because of these scams and everything.
Yeah, I mean, a ransomware attack on the digital. So these scams from the phone is one big threat in the physical world, and ransomware attack is a big threat in cybersecurity space or in the internet space, in the digital space. It's a really big threat. Big companies get affected by it. They lose like millions of dollars in ransom just in a day.
We gotta be careful, especially when we are coming out as an internet student. We're in a completely new country. We don't know things. Somehow, you'll have to learn things yourself. You'll have to be careful. You will have to figure out things. That's why I want to do a diploma in IT later on sometime, because in today's world, being able to understand the digital things, IT things, how things work, I think it would be very, very fruitful in whatever field you go. Like being a little bit of literate in IT, in digital space as well.
I would say it's really good to know about IT. Like that way, you would understand how exactly. Like we may see the whole internet is like there's a cable or the Wi-Fi, we connect to it, we surf the internet, we see it. But when you start from learning how exactly that goes behind the scene, it's like all the small packets like thing that comes into your machine, it's sent from your machine, goes into router, and then there's a small thing called hopping. It hops from one distance to another distance. It hops like a frog to another distance to the end of the distance, comes to the final. And then again hops back into your machine. It looks so amazing if that's the visibility you get from learning about ITs and all. But provided that, I wouldn't really say go have diploma in IT or whatever. Honestly speaking, my college degree did not help me in any possible way. I think the only portion, one of the portion that it helped me was it let me do work remotely from my office, from my college's last desk. And it helped me earn money from my freelancing job because I was able to do it from the desk in my college. But that's it. It does not help too much. Unless you go to really big universities where the curriculums, where the teachers are also actually the one who work in the field, who has knowledge and experiences that they share. But for that, still, it's not just the lectures, it's not just the degrees that's going to give you those ideas. It's about you can search about the contents, you can search about things you want to learn in IT, and you can just pretty much find every resources in the internet.
Yeah, but the thing with the internet is, of course, there's everything there. But for someone like me, it's like I can't just go out there and do things by myself. I can't separate a time for that. It's like I need that particular class in order to go and study and learn, That's what I mean when I say I want to do a diploma or something, because I won't go out and learn these things on the day-to-day life unless I make myself to do it by joining a class or a course,
That's one way as well, yeah. So if that works, definitely go. But I was just giving an option, like, really, to go to the college or have a degree to learn about this.
It's not about degree. It's not about degree for me. It's just about learning those kind of things, learning things how they work, like a little bit of programming maybe, because I know C++, I know C programming, so I know how things work, if and those kind of things. Basic, but I know those kind of things. But I want to know a bit more, like how websites are built, how security systems are built. Again, it comes to like how to be actually safe. It's about being aware about the things around me, because everything is tech around me, So I think it would be more fruitful and helpful, if you know about those kind of things, because everything is going online, even businesses and everything. You need to have some kind of website for your business now. It's like a mandatory, especially when you are in a place like Australia. So I want to learn those kind of things too, just for knowledge, not for the degree or to find a job, for myself, And
you still need to do your own work and your own research, even though you are studying, is because they are not going to teach you all these kind of stuff. It just does not happen often in the curriculums. But yeah, I mean, to help you manage a specific time, a dedication to actually learn about these kind of stuff, if going to a class helps you, definitely do it. Provided that even though you are in class, make sure you do your own research.
You have to, man. Especially when in the field of IT, even with you are a very great example here. I have another brother named Crystal. I don't know if you know that. You know him, right? Crystal Puri.
Yep, I know him.
Yeah, of course. You two guys. So you two guys are the best examples of the guys who have found jobs in their field in IT while they were studying. And I think one of the reasons why it was with both of you, what I could see was you knew things more than what was taught in course, what was taught in your school or in your class. You guys knew things more than that. You actually had practical skills rather than just theoretical knowledge. That's the common thing
Yeah.
between you guys, and that's the common thing, I guess, for anyone who's in IT. You need to go
Yeah.
outside your book and learn all those kind of things. You can't just be limited there.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, what I would say in that is like, it's not we have knowledge or we had knowledge or anything. I would say it's because we were passionate and we knew where we see ourselves in terms of career. So we were preparing ourselves already to be able to compete in the career in the market. With that, just the thing that helped us come here and find a job in the industry itself.
Yeah. Comes down to passion, man. I think that's the difference between people who are in IT who are passionate and people who are in IT just because someone said them that this degree would give you a good job. I guess that's the difference. Well, while in anything, man.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen both kinds of people.
Yeah, you see them here. Okay, so that's all I have. At last, I would like to talk about your podcast, since you're doing your podcast too. How long have you been doing it?
Wow, okay, that's a good question. So basically, I think me and he's also Nepalese. So what I used to do is where I wanted to teach people about hacking, how to get started into cybersecurity, how to be industry ready, all those kind of things. I used to do that for free so that they don't need to, because I believe in free knowledge and I don't believe in spending $3,000, $5,000 to go to institute and be job ready. Most of the things are just scams. I just really don't like it. And
that's good in bro.
And I wanted to build, and I did not, since I did not see any Nepalese in the cybersecurity field in here while I was around. Initially, I did not see any Nepalese around at all in conferences, in meetups, or in events. I did not see anyone. So I just felt like this is really bad. I feel like maybe let's help out change that a bit. And then I started a meetup. And then with the meetup, when it was going on for a few months, for almost like 10 to 11 months, and then I stopped because I did not find Nepalese a lot of passionate about it, to be honest. It's hard. Many Nepalese whoever initially wanted to learn, it's because of those friends I started, because I wanted to help most of them be in one single place and teach them practically, teach them sequence. But yeah, after certain times, they did not seem passionate enough and it was not worth it to run it. And then once it was done, we still were thinking, how can we actually help community more? And even that meetup, he was helping me co-organize the meetup. We both were doing this stuff. And after some months of putting it to the stop, we were thinking, how exactly can we help community? How to educate? So we need to educate them. We need to show the.
You paused again. You're back. Something wrong with your internet or my internet?
I think it's my internet, anyways. And I just had stopped recording anyway. So yeah, basically. After we stopped the meetup, we were just thinking, what exactly should we do to help educate the community, get the community known to the world as well, because we were really close to the cybersecurity community here in Australia as well. So that's how we came about all of things. We learned a lot of things. And then from there came the thought of doing a podcast, because there was no any cybersecurity podcast in Nepal. And there were a lot of podcasts in terms of cybersecurity for the international people. So there's one of the really good podcasts that we used to listen way too much. And even now, I still wait 15 days every month to get that one episode. It's called Darknet Diaries. So I used to listen to that as well. He used to listen to that as well. And from there and all, we thought, let's create something. And our main focus would be to bring the Nepalese speakers to help the community know about Nepalese hackers, Nepalese speakers as well, and to empower and bring in all these equality things, all this inclusiveness and collaboration and all these kind of things. So that was the main intent. And we started in, I think, 2019, I guess. And after we did some episodes, we both became really busy at work and we did not have much time to spare. And like working full time, and then there was unis as well for me as well, and it just became really difficult for us to get back to computers and start doing something else. It was so tiring anyways, right? And because of that, we stopped it. And also initially we did not have like a specific plans or anything managed, but then so that was what was happening. And after some time, I think after 1.5 years, a few months back, we thought like, hey, let's just again. I feel like we need to give to the community now. The community is growing. Let's help them. Let's do it again. Let's do it. And we both were having the same thoughts. I know. I gave him a call. I gave Nico. I was thinking about this. I wanted to give a gift to community somewhere. I've done some stuff, but I don't think that's enough to educate people, to help people. Let's do something. Let's get back to our podcast. Let's plan it this time. Let's do it. Take it as a long-term thing. And it's like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing as well. And boom, we started it. And yeah, we did a couple of episodes. We still have a few more episodes in line. We brought women's in cybersecurity as well to show the world and show the cybersecurity community in Nepal as well that there are women who hack and who are into cybersecurity, so that we can empower them, help them understand there is women as well, and we need more women in the field too, because there is really less women. To bring that equality in the field, to bring that balance in the field. So we did that. We brought people who work in Nepal. We brought people who work in Australia, in Australian defense, in Australian defense, digital defense team as well, who's one of the biggest, and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of Nepalese are there actually working in the field, and we brought all of them. Now we have plans of bringing in some more international speakers, because we thought like it's okay whatever we bring from Nepal. It's very small space, very less people are there who would be able to share stuff. So it still is going to be completely focused on Nepalese, but let's bring international people. Let's share their experience. It's completely to Nepalese only, because for the international people, for the other countrymen, there is already things happening for them. But for Nepal, nothing is happening, and we want to. So that's what's happening, and that's why we initiated it again. And we are doing it as a monthly thing. We are trying to keep it in the track. Next one is coming up most probably this Saturday.
Okay.
So yeah, we are trying to get it in the track like every second Saturday of the month. That's where we are trying to release it. It's coming, and it's called Nepal Got Hacked. Yeah. So you can find it in Google. You can find it in SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon. There was some Amazon Music, I think, in Amazon Music today. And there are like a lot of other podcast platforms. So we have it, and you can always find it. Just go out to Google, search for Nepal Got Hacked, and you'll be able to find it. And please give us some feedback if you want, and if you want to hear about something specific or hear about specific industry within cybersecurity, we'll be happy to get that feedback, try to find speaker who can speak about it, and get it done for you, because it's by the community people. We belong to the community, and it's for the people, so that we could educate, motivate, inspire them.
Good on you for that, bro. Good on you. That's what we are also trying to do, especially concentrate on international students, somehow provide them with some kind of resources, or provide them with some kind of knowledge, some kind of motivation, whatever, something to help them, something to get them out of the system or culture we actually see around us, where it's pathetic to see like you just come here and work like an ass and there's nothing. I mean, for some people money is everything, maybe that's what they want, but I have a problem with those kind of people who have complained about that, like who have complaints that I haven't been able to do this or that because I need to earn money. You can't have both things. Either you manage things or you just shut up and just earn money and just don't do anything else, okay? But that's the thing, man, about most international students, especially sitting in our community. We just don't want to go out and grab that opportunity, We are just limited among our space, among our family, among our friends who are all from the same place with the same mentality. You can't grow like that, man. You need to go out, explore, and see what we have around here, Meet people like you and Crystal and, who are there doing things out of the box somehow,
It's the thing, right? Like if you want to just be around Nepalese society, why should you even come to Australia?
Yeah, exactly.
It has a community. I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's really good to be around our own. We'll be safe. We learn things. It becomes really easier to cope with various aspects of life as well. If we still live around our Nepalese community, and it's really needed as well. But
we need to preserve our culture, man. I'm always up for that. It's not like I hate my culture. It's just,
you just need to try and experience. So there's so much good stuff in other people's culture, their lifestyle, the way they do things. It's so beautiful out there, but we never want to try it. And because of the same thing, because most of the people we sit around would be having same mentality, like, nah, you need to earn money, you cannot find a good job, or those kind of industry is not made for us, it's not for our community, and blah blah, all this kind of shit. And we just we get brainwashed and we think it is the reality. But know that if you come in the industry, trust me, you earn even more money with less effort.
Again, that comes to, I guess, passion. You need to have passion for that.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If someone is driven by money as well, you need to if you are coming down to the industry, specific industries, whatever course you've done in a degree, be it IT, accounts, administration, whatever, know that if you actually work in industry for a year or a little bit over a year, you'll earn almost like double money to what you're usually earning from the normal wages. Because I know that a lot of retails, a lot of shops pay you like the minimum wage, and it's just
that's the thing. With the students, we just can only hope and try to help them and see whatever is available out there. That's it.
Yep. I'm always up for helping out people as well. If they want to learn something about the industry that I'm into, or if they need having their resume reviewed, or if they need help in, I don't know, get a pathway, something, I'm always up for that. I can help you out whatever I can. I'm not going to give promises that I'll give you a job or whatever, but whatever I can, I'll definitely do it.
Me too, bro. That's what we can do. So anyways, that's all from me, man. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, I think I said almost everything I wanted to say. I just put into our podcast, Nepal got hacked as well. And if you are interested in cybersecurity or want to get into it, or not even cybersecurity, if you need, or even if you feel like you're alone, you want to talk to some person, just hit me up. I'm always around. It doesn't really matter. You give me a text anytime. I'll be always around, as long as your attitude is good enough. I don't really care.
That matter. I'll link everything, your podcast and your websites and everything, your personal links. I'll put them all in the descriptions below for our listeners to listen to it. So thank you very much, Abartan, for your time today. It was great to have you here. It was great to learn from you, especially regarding cybersecurity and stuff, scams and stuff. I think it would be very, very helpful for our listeners to get some insights into that and be much more safe.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
No worries, man. Thank you very much. See you soon. If you like this video, hit subscribe. You can listen to the full podcast in YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.